Liverpool 3, Southampton 1. Job done. It was a bit of touch and go for at least 45 minutes there, wasn't it? But anyway, the lads came through in the end. 16 points clear. Plus 14 goal difference ahead of Arsenal as well. So 17 points clear, if you like. Arsenal have got 2 games in hand, but they've got to win them both to have any chance of even a sniff of getting back into this. Mo Salah goes third clear in the all-time goal-scoring chart for Liverpool. 32 for the season. 27 league goals. That's 7 more than Haaland in second place. So he's almost certain to win the Golden Boot for the Premier League, which is brilliant. 71% possession to 29. 28 shots to their, I don't know, it was 7 or something like that. And 57 touches in the box to their 8. So it sounds like a procession, doesn't it? Well, it wasn't. It wasn't. Let's get on to the first half. Slot goes with a couple of changes, but a very, very strong team. He puts Tsimikas in, which he's been doing lately, rotating the 2 left-backs. He puts Curtis Jones in the middle, and he puts Darwin Núñez up front. And you're thinking, great, strong team, get the game done and dusted, and then bring on the subs. Well, not a bit of it. This Southampton team, and I've watched them lately, and they've been absolutely shocking. They've been letting in goals for fun. I think the Liverpool team might have been looking at the same footage because we were so far off it in that first half. You wouldn't have known, if you weren't aware of who these 2 teams were and you watched that first half, you would have no clue who was top of the league and who was bottom of the league. It was that even a half. Yeah, we had more possession, but they got 3 corners in a row. They had 2 efforts on target in a row. At one point, with about a few minutes to go in the half, it was 2 shots on target for each team. Lackluster, complacent, doesn't even begin to explain it. We were sloppy on top of that. And it was just not going right at all. And Southampton were encouraged. And sure enough, a couple of minutes before half time, there's a mix-up between Virgil and Alisson, and their player Smallbone, what a name that is, pokes it through Alisson's legs and we're 1-0 down. You could sense the anxiety in the crowds. The Anfield crowd was very, very quiet in that first half and were trying occasionally to rally the team. The other thing Southampton were doing is, they've been guilty this season of trying to play out from the back, which they can't do. And they've got error after error. Well, this time they had a pretty decent left winger and he kept knocking it out to him. Now, he didn't give Trent too many problems because they didn't really have too many attacking options other than him, but they were using them as an outlet to good effect. And so we were having to build from the very back again, time and time again. And it just wasn't working at all. It was a pretty dismal first half performance from everybody, the entire team, particularly, I would say, and I'm going to talk a bit more about them in a minute. Luis Diaz couldn't control a ball, kept misplacing it. Darwin Núñez, he had a couple of half chances where he did what he does in terms of rushing them off balance, fired them over the bar when he had time and a bit more composure. He would have had a couple of chances of scoring. And then after they scored their goal with just a minute or so to go the first half, he makes a ridiculous challenge on the Southampton player, which, it was a yellow card, but it was checked. You see red cards when players miss time because it's considered reckless. That was reckless. It was reckless. I'm not suggesting that it should have been a red, but it was really, really the wrong thing to do, and he shouldn't be doing that, and it's something he's got to stamp out of his game. So it looked like, they just scored. Darwin Núñez was doing that, and it looked like it was all unravelling. You're thinking, oh, God, we're 1-0 down to the worst team the Premier League's ever seen. I'm glad the half-time whistle came when it did because we needed that break. So, second half, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall as to what Slot said to that team at half-time, because I know he's very composed and he's very calm, I can't believe he was calm at half-time today. And sure enough, he makes 3 changes at half-time. Now, he never does that. The surprise to me was that it wasn't Darwin Núñez who came off, given that he'd lost his head at the end and was now on a booking. So he brought on Robbo, Alexis McAllister and Harvey Elliott. And off went Costas, Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai, who need to rest anyway. And we were transformed. And I'll talk a little bit about the subs a bit later, but we were absolutely transformed. We went right at them from the very start of the second half. All the complacency was gone. So anyone thinking it was tiredness in that first half, it wasn't. It was complacency. It proved in the second half because we just upped it when we wanted to. The 3 subs, immediate effect, and we just went right at them. Brilliant save by Ramsdale from Harvey Elliott, who added immediate energy to the proceedings. And then Luis Diaz, who was transformed in the second half. He breaks down the left, beats his man, pulls it back, and Darwin Núñez shows the composure you want, and he clips it home, and it's 1-1. And everything changed. The mood in Anfield changed. You just sensed it, that there was going to be a Liverpool onslaught coming. And sure enough, almost immediately, Darwin Núñez gets the ball again. He sneaks ahead of the defender, Smallbone again. That name. But anyway, he takes Darwin out from behind, and it's a Stonewall penalty. Mo Salah, who... Do you know the thing about Mo Salah? He gets better at everything, and I think he's better now at penalties than he used to be. He used to miss the odd one, but now he is so precise, and he mixes them up. You never know what he's going to do, and he just blasts it home. And we're 2-1 up in the space of 2 minutes. In the entire second half, when I talk about being transformed, we were faster. We were quicker to everything. We got our passing game going, and it was slick. And Southampton were now second to everything. We were more creative. We were more determined. Everything about that second half display was night and day versus the first one. And then you could see the gulf in class between the two teams. And then you could see just how brilliant this Liverpool team can be. Yeah, we didn't fire on all cylinders today, but when we needed to step up, we just went through the gears and we just took it to Southampton. And it says, like I said at the beginning, 57 touches in the opposition box just shows it. But we were also controlled. When we got to that point, we slowed the game down when we needed to as well. And we were knocking it around, and they were chasing shadows. A couple of their players came off. They were absolutely knackered. You could see they're like, I need a breather. And then Luis Diaz again gets down the sides. The defender, in his desperation, goes like that. Clear penalty. It goes to VAR. It was so obviously going to give him. And Mo Salah, again, a completely different penalty. And he blasted into the top right-hand corner. And it's 3-1. And it's game over. It was really game over at 2-1. But they did have the odd little sniff. So we needed that there goal. Finally it came. And we win the game in the end with relative ease. But we can't just play for a half in the games coming up. We've got to play the whole 90 minutes. And I'm sure we will. Anyway, on to the shout-outs. So I'm going to start with what should be the second shout-out, but I'm giving it to them first because the front three who were... I'm not going to say Salah was poor in the first half. He was okay, but the other two were. Diaz and Núñez were not at it at all. And yet, Arne Slot, who's proven himself a bit of a genius with substitutions, he leaves both of them on when I would have taken Darwin Núñez off. But they both transformed the game. Diaz upped his game about 5 levels. Núñez scored the first goal, then won the penalty. Diaz assisted the first goal, and it was him harassing the defender that led to the second penalty and the important third goal. And Salah scores twice from his 2 penalties. They won us the game in all the key moments and all the key involvements. So kudos to all 3 of them. But the first shout-out really should go to these substitutions. Robertson, McAllister and Elliott were the big difference that allowed the front three to do what they did in that second half. Robbo's energy down the wing and his link-up play with Diaz was vital. That's why Diaz was so involved in that second half recovery. McAllister is controlling midfield. So fast in his thinking that he's there ahead of players. He doesn't have to go bombing it around. His thinking is so fast that he's in the right place at the right time. And he was making tackles in their final third and in our final third. In one part of the game, he did 2 of those in the space of about 45 seconds in different parts of the pitch. That's how much control and drive that he gave to us. And then Harvey Elliott, he was brilliant. His energy, he almost scored a brilliant save by Ramsdale, but he was everywhere. And I think the reason that Slot hasn't played Harvey as much as he would like is because Harvey can be a little bit erratic. He can be a little bit all over the place. And sometimes I think his youthful enthusiasm means he goes running off in different directions. And Slot doesn't like that. He wants control. He wants you to take control of your area of the pitch. And we saw that from Harvey in that second half. Everything he did was controlled, still at pace, still causing them loads and loads of problems, but with control. And that bodes well for Harvey in the future. So well done, kid. You were superb. All 3 of them were superb. And then, of course, Endo comes on. And there's a stat, we've only conceded 1 goal where Endo's been on the pitch, but we haven't conceded any when he's been brought on to close out the game. And he came on, and within seconds, he had gone bang, bang, 2 different tackles, winning the ball back and putting us on the front foot. Superb. And of course, all of that goes down to the manager, who I think picked the right first 11. I think he was absolutely fuming with the complacency that he saw. He took decisive action. He brought 3 players on right at the start of the second half. All 3 of them had a massive impact, which means that once again, his substitutions had the Midas touch and had a massive impact. So, Arne Slot, absolutely superb once again. So, 16 points clear. It's another game. That's 26 out of 29 league games now. We've scored 2 or more goals. It puts us now within touching distance of this title. 16 points clear. Arsenal 2 games in hand. But if today told us anything, they know this, don't need me to say it, but they've got to maintain 100% focus at all times for 100% of games, not for 45 minutes. Because that could have gone a bit wrong in that if we hadn't pulled it out in that second half, but of course we did. So it's over to you, Arsenal. 16 points behind, and you're going to Old Trafford tomorrow. And you know what? I want a Man United draw. I can't want them to win. I'm sorry, I can't. If they do win, I'll have to get in and bear it. I'll have to reluctantly take it. But I want a draw. A draw will be fine for me. I don't even like wanting them to draw, but I've got to. We've got to want Arsenal to drop points. That's it. I don't want Man United anything. I just want Arsenal to drop points. That's the way I'm going to put it. Right, so up next, back to the Champions League. 1-0 up against PSG. We know we got to be at it from the first minute with them because they were bloody good the other day. And then after that, it's the small matter of a cup final. It's great, isn't it? Great to be a Red, always. But this week, 16 points clear, Champions League second leg, 1-0 up, then a cup final. And we don't have another league game in all the match. But anyway, I will see you after the PSG game. Bring it on, lads. Let's do them. Let's get to that next round. You'll never walk alone. Cheers, ta-ra.